Hi and welcome to this video log with me, Wayne from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, we're back to the National Championships again, taking views from there and seeing if we can learn anything from it. And this time we're looking at backstroke, but more particularly backstroke starts. Now, backstroke starts are incredibly difficult to do because you have to make it good and you have to push yourself out the water even though everything's dragging you back in. We're going to have a look at some good starts here. And the principle, remember, always should be hold on to the rails until you've developed power, release that power, get streamlined, drive those legs so that you can get over the water, and then raise the hips above your head so that you can enter the water streamlined and get a really good start. Let's see how some people do it. So here we're looking at backstroke ledges. And backstroke ledges are used at all major championships, and you can see we have the controlling unit there with the ledge coming across there. That's how it works, and your feet go on that. They still have to, your feet still have to touch the timing block, the timing plate should I say, so you can have the ball of your foot on the ledge and the rest has to be, or the toes have to be on the actual timing plate to be at the end, otherwise you're swimming less distance. You can understand that. So we have various styles here. With backstroke starts, it's very important that your arms hold on to the posts and the blocks until you develop some power. And you can see here we get movement and then we get that release of power. Once that's released, the swimmer really does have to try and lift the hips up above the head. So we've got to lift the hips up above the head. Now we can see in lane 2 this person has a arched back, but they're not lifting anything up at all. So if you look, all they're doing is arching the back into the water. And the same is really true of this person in lane 1. Although they have a tremendous arch in the back, they aren't actually lifting those hips or trying to lift those hips above their head. That's hugely important. Now it's difficult to see, but I'd like you to look at this person right at the end, okay, because they are doing what I would consider a really good start. Now let's have a look. You can see they develop power, then release, and then lift those hips well above the head. And because they're lifting the hips well above the head, remember we're looking at that person there, their feet come over the water and they get a really good start. Now in these races, the fastest swimmers are always, or fastest qualifying swimmers are always in the middle lanes. So you can see these middle lanes going like crazy and we expect them to win. So what we're talking about is expecting these people to win this race. But if you look at the guy at the end, he's had a tremendous start. He's keeping that going because this is a 50-meter race. And slowly but surely, nobody's catching him. He's ahead of everybody, and bang, he's going to touch first. So the person in the outside lane, one of the slowest qualifiers, actually wins this race. So we're looking at the next age group up, and again we've got varying styles here. You can see backwards, upright, backwards. A lot of these styles now are actually dipping the head back, ready to actually arch the back as soon as we're off. But let's have a look at this in slow motion as we get through the start. Okay, so again we've got power being, you can see that from lane 0, which I call lane 1. Power before the release happens, and then the arch in the back and the feet come out. Now the guy in lane 0 has actually lifted his hips from that position. He's going to arch his back and lift his hips, and so his feet come out the water. So that's a reasonably good start. But I'd like you to also look at this person here in lane effectively 6. It's lane 7 as far as I'd look at it. But let's have a look at that race. So if you look at him, you can see he's released after the power is there, then the back's arched and the hips are raised up. You can see him raising those hips up to get that arch in. You can see the feet are out of the water before his trunks are even in.
So that's not only a huge arch, but he's really flicking those feet up, getting the hips really well above the head, and see what happens in the race. So once again, the fastest people are in the middle of the race, so we're expecting these people to actually win. We can see he's had such a good start that it's becoming very difficult for the others to actually catch him. In a 50-metre race, that start is really, really important. But it's important anyway, even if you're doing 100 or 200. Getting an extra half a metre lead can mean you win it as opposed to not win it. And there we go. Suddenly lane 7's got it. Jack Bauer is absolutely stoked because he wasn't expected to win. So here we're looking at the oldest age group, and again we'll take the start in slow motion. And we can see again power release, power release. Guy in lane 0 or 1, as I would call it, has got the fastest start. But I want you to compare a couple of things. I want you to compare this guy with this guy there. Now if you look at lane 2, as I would call it, his feet drag through the water because you can see he's not trying to lift those hips from that position. He's not trying to lift those hips up out the water. So his feet are dragging through the water a long way. Take a look at lane 4 now. His feet drag a little bit, but then they go out the water. See, at this point, these feet are in the water and these are well above the water. And the way that's been done is that the hips here have really driven up. You can see the angle of the body is probably about the same, but the hips have driven up so that now he's out the water, less resistance, and he can get a good start. Let's have a look at the rest of the race. Now the people in the middle are meant to have a faster swim than the people on the outside, and you can see that amazing start has given lane 4 a tremendous boost. All of them are stroking about the same. All of them should be similar in terms of physique and strength, but a 50-metre, that start was really stellar. And you can see he's coming in a good half a metre ahead of everybody else.
So there you have 3 prime examples of how a good start in backstroke can actually lead to a really good swim. And in 2 of those races, the outsider actually won the race because of a phenomenal start. Now remember, when you do backstroke starts, try and hold on until your legs have developed a little bit of power. Because if you let go of the bar, you will immediately start falling back into the water. Gravity just drags you down. You cannot defeat gravity unless you've provided a force that can get over that 9.8 meters per second squared acceleration downwards. Now if you do that, then you can get your head above the water. You can then arch your back, raise your hips, get your legs out of the water, and make a really good streamlined start. Now remember that the water is approximately 1,500 times denser than air. So which would you prefer to be travelling through the most? It makes sense to get into the air, so much less resistance, then into the water, and making sure that you get into the water in a streamlined position. Well, hopefully that's helped you. Backstroke starts are difficult. You have to practice them again and again. Okay, hopefully, as I say, that's helped you. We'll see you next week with something different. Keep well, enjoy training.